Well, I remember when when I was a kid, I never really had any religious background. Wasn't raised in a particularly religious household. My grandmother was a religious person. She would go to meetings, they called them, and she would take me, probably 13, 14 years old, maybe a little younger. So I was introduced to God at a pretty early age. But as soon as I got home, I was never really around it. Or I always prayed to God, had a relationship with God. But I don't think I really knew much about Jesus. I don't know if it was not stressed as much or if I was too young. But that God figure was always there. Like it was almost hardwired, or maybe it was just a presence that I knew. But then I would pray to Him. As I got older, I kind of tried to control my own life. Kind of put God on the back burner. Any kind of religion, didn't really think at all about it. Sure, I dabbled in, alcohol, mid-20s alcohol, going out late, just doing things I shouldn't. And anytime I got in real trouble, sure, it was, okay, maybe we should go and pray to God. And then by that time, I would just, forget a couple days later. Fast forward bunch of years, took a couple jobs, ended up working in a hospital, in surgery actually, which is a great story in itself. One of my coworkers brought up almost like a theology discussion about history of Christianity, and the story of Jesus, the disciples, and I was just enthralled. I just felt this new interest. It just hit me once, and that's all I thought about. It sounds cliche, but it was. Started meeting with him, talking more, reading more, and he asked me to come to his church, which happened to be Faith Church. I remember like it was yesterday. It was Pastor Mike. I remember him being there. He gave the sermon, and I was just enthralled. I was just captured. It was nothing like I remembered as a child, where it was more of a chore. It was more of attention seeking or trying to, make my grandmother happy. This really hit. It was, I don't want to sound like an infomercial, but it was, I felt something, and I'm pretty strong-willed and stubborn, and I felt something. So started attending regularly on my own. For a while, it wasn't as if I was getting stagnant or going through the motions. It was just I wanted the next thing. I wanted more. I wanted to do more. I just felt like there was more I could be doing in church. Then I know there were serving opportunities, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I could have the time for all that. But I took I think it was called the Journey class. I took that class, and it was the best thing I ever did. One of the people at the Journey group said, hey, there's the men's Bible study on Saturday mornings. And I was like, okay, well, what time does it start? And he said, well, I think it starts at 6:30. And I said, well, cool, you guys, have fun with that. And I'm sure I'll find something, But he persisted, and I went, and I never stopped. It was just being in that large group of guys, different ages, different stories, different backgrounds. And now I look back on it, I couldn't have done anything without that, those relationships. Before, when I was by myself, when I was, thinking I could do it all alone, I was so wrong. And I had all these new brothers, actual family that I could share my story, share my sadness, share my joy with. They really helped me take that next step forward. I look forward to continue to giving back to hopefully the next guy that walks in the door that was in the same position I was. I can grab him and say, hey, dude, I was there. Let me talk to you. It's like I did this. I was in the same spot. You can do it. You do have purpose. You do have somebody who loves you, and you do have a home.